Today we're going to talk about gardening, but not only herb gardening, but any type of container garden. So choose your pot. I would like to see you choose a clay that does not have lead in it. Remember, in some third world countries, including Mexico, when they make a clay pot, they will have lead in it. So if you can get a USA-made pot or something you're comfortable with without having lead in it, to grow anything that you put in your mouth, you want to make sure there's no lead in your pot. So you get a pot and then you're going to find you want to have the holes in it. Yes, you want to see through the bottom. And you're going to take a few shards, broken pots. You can use rocks. I'm going to use broken pots because they make nice shards in there. Just put that in there, and then we're going to fill it up with a little bit of dirt. Your potting soil is important too. Our potting soil happens to be organic peat moss with perlite, vermiculite, and our own organic soil. So we have an exclusive on the potting soil. And in fact, I'm going to ask Susan to pass this little pot around so people can enjoy the feel and touch. To me, there's nothing better than having a handful of dirt in your hand as you're going through the garden and what have you. I'm going to fill this. I'm going to fill it almost to the rim. By the way, we cook our potting soil. It's cooked in what I call an easy bake oven. It cooks a half a yard at a time. It reaches a temperature of 180 degrees for about 3.5 to 4 hours. And yes, it does smell. Cooked dirt does smell. If you've ever cooked it in your own oven, don't. It'll smell the house up. And please don't cook it in your husband's smoker. That's not a good idea. There we go. We're going to fill that pot up. You notice how airy the soil is? You don't want a compacted soil. And your potting soil, if it has little balls in it like this, they should be able to crush easily in your hand. If they don't crush, it's because it's been pulverized and rolled too many times, so it's not as good soil for taking in the moisture and letting out the nutrients. So here we go. What I like to start with in the middle of the pot is you're going to take your largest plant. And today I'm going to use a rosemary in the middle of this plant here. Look at the nice roots on that rosemary. You're going to split them apart just a little bit. Dig a hole. Set it inside. There we go. Now I'm going to put a couple basil in. Now why wouldn't I use the tall basil compared to the small basil? I'll show you the difference. Here's the small basil. It's going to be easier transplanted because there's not a lot of root structure. You dig the hole, you set it in gently, put the dirt around it like that. For those people that don't know what basil is, stick the label back inside. And then when we look at the bigger basils, such as this one, see how the roots now have already established themselves? When that's torn apart, unless it's cared for a lot and properly, you could lose that basil. You disturb the roots a little bit, you can lose that basil real easily. So the larger basil we're not going to use today, but we are going to put one more of the small basil in that pocket.
Bonnie, one of the listeners had a question about using topsoil. She said when she waters it, it gets clumpy. What's wrong with it?
Your topsoil isn't got enough organic matter in it. If you do compost, add some compost into that particular amount of soil too. If your ground or your soil, potting soil, is clumpy and sticks together, it has too much loam and too much not enough of the peat moss, not enough of the aeration. You want that light. If everyone felt that ground, that soil that's coming around, that soil has got a mixture. It's a very precise mixture of real dirt, peat moss, perlite. You can hardly see. The perlites are the little white things in it. They're basically aerators. And vermiculite, which we don't use a lot of anymore, is another spacer or aerator in there too. Your plant needs to breathe. So if you have topsoil and it compacts even more in this rain, you will have problems with the roots breathing, and so that you could lose the whole pot faster than with this. You need good drainage. That's why you put the shards in there and the holes in the bottom of your pot. And then you also need nice aerated dirt. Now for my situation, I use chives a lot. So the first thing you're going to do is weed the weeds out of your chives. And then we're going to take those and put them into the side. So far we've got 4 plants in our garden. Now a little bit of parsley. I love parsley. I make a tabbouleh that has mandarin oranges and couscous or bulgur and slivered almonds, roasted, toasted, and parsley. Very, very nice. Okay, now we got that. We've got everything here. We've got your basil, we've got chives, we've got parsley. How about some thyme? Now I'm going to use lemon thyme. Anything lemon. Verbena, lemon thyme, lemon basil, lemongrass repels mosquitoes. So they don't kill the mosquitoes, bless its heart, but it does repel mosquitoes. If you're having a pot on the patio, on the table, anywhere, make sure it's inclusive of some sort of lemon flavor. In this case, we're going to use lemon thyme. Now, as you noted, I did not put fertilizer in here. Fertilizer, because of our rainy season this year, we're having a tough time trying to regulate the amount of fertilizer so it doesn't leach out, because the rain just leaches out that fertilizer's lickety-split. So I'm going to recommend using either an organic or a Miracle-Gro liquid type of fertilizer, and make sure that you fertilize once a week. Dilute as directed on your bottle of fertilizer, liquid fertilizer that you have. Do it on a sunny day. You always feed your plant on a sunny day. The roots are open and receptive for the nutrients. If you do it on a rainy day or a cloudy day, your whole system is not working. The chloroform and all of that, not chloroform, but the whole technique of bringing in the nutrients is not working. Here's your plant. Now, you've got to plant it. This is a very important step. You're going to water it, but you're going to water it around the edge, very lightly. And you're working with plants that have been watered at least early enough in the day that they're not dry. If you feel that the dryness is by the roots, make sure to water before you plant them, because they need that. They need that boost. Now I'm going to keep this particular pot in the shade for at least a day. With this heat and this sun, if you put this out on your sidewalk or out in your yard where it's lots of sun, you will melt it. It will go down within just hours. Even with the water, with everything. Because the shock of transplanting and then the shock of getting it established, it wants some baby. So basically you've got a new little one in the house. You've got your pot and you want to make sure that it's planted. Now it's not watered very much. Now, say if you were going away this weekend and you had your pot all planted and you wanted to do something, how am I going to keep them watered when I'm gone away and it's going to be 91 today? You're going to take an ice cream bucket over here, have the lip of the ice cream bucket match the height of your pot. So put it on maybe some empty pots or something like that, just there. Take a thin piece of terry cloth or cotton material, dip it into the water, pull it over and dip it into the center of your pot. It wicks from the bucket into the pot. And the thinner your material is, the smaller the amount of water there is. So I recommend doing it about 1 inch wide, going from one to the other. Voila, there you go, right there. Now there's a very nice patio pot for yourself to enjoy in an herb pot at that, too. Here we go.